Welcome to the Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill in Champaign, Illinois. Presented by Ford of Tuscola. Now here's your hosts, Keith Gibson and Sam Erwin.
Welcome everybody to the Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill. Your host, Keith Gibson, alongside me each and every week. The great one, the undeniable one, the most electrifying one, Sam Erwin. Sammy.
What's up? What's up? How we doing?
Oh, it's playoff football season, Sammy.
Yes, it is. It is upon us.
We have been busy people. You were on the road, on spot reporter last weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I came down from the space station, as many people saw. Or actually didn't come down, but was able to do, a live feed and came down from the space station to Benton. It was awesome. A very cool event that they put together for the kids, players, and parents. A lot of food, but it was a neat environment. It really was, and was able to do that. Of course, Coach Groves and Coach Johnson and that coaching staff are great guys. Well, Coach Groves is, and the rest of the staff. Coach Johnson is still. But we'll talk about it at another time. But no, it was cool. It was really cool. And I seen with it, we got a lot of shares on that, which was nice. A lot of people were interested in that. So yeah, now we're going to be talking, tonight as they've had a chance to watch some film on their upcoming opponent, prepare a little bit. We can kind of get us a nice preview of the games coming up this weekend.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. We did have a nice time there. And you know what else is nice, Sammy? I was thinking after we got done Saturday night talking to all the coaches, do you realize what every single coach has in common that we had on the Friday Night Mike segment this season is?
I think I got it right. I think they're all in the playoffs.
That's right.
Right. And you're welcome. Right. Has nothing to do with their coaching ability or the players. It's because they were on this show and everybody knows it.
That's right.
They do. Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm.
But hey, no, it was a great weekend. We had fun. You put in some work. I put in some work and got things up and going for everybody.
Yep. And we had a live feed with Coach Martin that we got to share, and a live feed with Brian McTackitt, head coach of the Flora Wolves. So people are getting content. We're on the road. We're coming from space. I mean, I don't know what more people want. And then what we've got to share with people later on in the show. Ooh, brother, it's going to be a great weekend.
It is. It's going to be another fun weekend that we get to see each other. But hey, a lot to talk about today. We're going to have a lot of things in sports, including Tiger tying the record, 82 wins. Yes. I know that makes you happy.
Oh, man, it was awesome. Yes, it was.
The Cubs hired Grandpa Rossi.
Mm-hmm. I want your thoughts on that.
You're going to get my thoughts on that.
Okay.
And then we'll talk, of course, we're going to bring Drew Ferris, former Florida Gator, long snapper. He's going to come on the show because on Tuesday, the NCAA passed the ability for the players to be paid for their likeness, which means, you know what that could mean, Sammy?
Huge news.
You know what that means?
You know what that means? You know what that means? That means we get a football game.
That's right. That's right.
It's coming back. It's coming back.
But they passed that, so that's huge news. We'll get his perspective as a former college athlete of what his thoughts are, and then we'll talk about the Illini, another Big Ten win this week. Now 4-4. Bowl eligible could be happening.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, but Gators a big game this week too with Georgia, the biggest cocktail party of the year. We got a lot of college football to talk about. Then we're going to ask Drew about his XFL draft process. He was put in the XFL draft pool and unfortunately wasn't drafted. But we want to know about his process, so we're going to talk to him about that as well. Then Sammy, I mean, this show just keeps getting bigger.
It's like another mega power show. I didn't think we were capable of it. This is another big show. Yeah.
Then we'll have Coach Groves back on to hear what he's seen in film, going up against Salem. We're going to have Coach Brian McTackitt on the show to see what he's seen against for Tuscola and some big news with him. And then possibly we may have Coach Martin if he can get away. He's got some obligations, so we're hoping to have him on the show as well if he can get away. But another big show. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Sammy, we're going to hear from our friends at Florida Tuscola. It's their 5th anniversary this month.
Of?
Being in Tuscola.
Is it really? I didn't know. I thought they'd been there forever. Just
5 years. Yeah,
and the amount of cars they're selling, they've only been there 5 years. Good Lord. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, so they're having their big 5th anniversary celebration, so we'll hear all about that. Of course, we'll hear
that incredible deal that they're doing for people. I hope people seen that on Facebook. of even more money that Florida Tuscola's
Right.
given to you. It's just incredible. Yeah, you'd be a fool not to buy from Florida Tuscola. A fool.
Right.
Mhm.
They're good friends. And well, of course, we'll hear from Bees Trees during the show as well. And maybe even hear from our new sponsors too.
Ooh.
Dr. Katie Burmeister, Back to Action Chiropractic, and Lisa Ehrbacher, Country Financial.
Spreading out, getting more support. And once again, great businesses as well. So it's just a nice give and take right there.
That's right.
Sure.
So we thank all of our sponsors. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll come back with the hottest topics in sports. And I know, Sammy, you're going to love to talk about Tigers. So we're back from the Behind the Mic show from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.
It's the 5th anniversary celebration at Florida Tuscola. Celebrate with blowout pricing on all pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. All new inventory priced below invoice, including F-150 and Explorers. Don't miss out on Florida Tuscola's 5th anniversary celebration happening all November. Visit FloridaTuscola.com or call 217-253-3353 to celebrate with a new vehicle from Florida of Tuscola.
Welcome back to the Behind the Mic show here from the Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill. Of course, myself, Keith Gibson, alongside Sam Erwin, as we bring in the hottest topics in sports. We used to call it, Sammy, our Fast Five, but anymore, we got more than 5 topics to talk about. There's a lot to talk about every week.
I was going to say it's more than 5. Yeah, it's hard to fit in 5. So we just wing it like we always do, baby.
Yeah, sometimes that's the best content. Speaking of winging it, like an ex-wife did through his windshield, Tiger won number 82.
He did. That's right. And, you and I, of course, I texted you because I didn't even realize that there was even a tournament going on, and then I just seen that, he's leading in a PGA in Japan, of all places. And I texted you. The ZoZo, and texted you and said, hey, heads up, because it was Sunday and it was the final round and he was leading. And I said, we're getting ready to watch some history here. And I tuned in. I know you did. And I will say this. He looks healthy. He was not limping around. So that's key number 1 with Tigers we've talked about. And number 2, I don't recall the last time I seen him so comfortable off the tee with his driver, his 3-wood. It was smooth. He didn't even look after he hit it. He knew it. And the confidence.
I think it was Keegan Bradley that said afterwards, because I watched it for about an hour afterwards, and they interviewed Keegan Bradley, and Keegan said it's the best ball striking he's ever seen. He said he could have pulled out a pitchfork and hit it smooth. And he wasn't. The thing with Tiger Sunday that I watched that last final round, I don't know, it was 8 to 10 holes. Mm-hmm. I never saw him swing hard.
Never swung hard at all. Control.
It was just nice.
Dialed in.
Fair way.
Yep. Dialed in, and that's the whole key to Tiger for his entire career is if he can hit that drive in the fairway, everybody else is in trouble.
Right.
But as we know, the last several years, whether it's been with health or just an erratic swing or whatever, you never knew where that driver was going. I was nervous every time he got on the tee box. I'm like, God, here we go. Or don't even bring the driver out. I think I told you that many times. Like, just hit the 3-wood, But once it gets an iron in his hand, it's deadly if he's in the fairway. It really is. And long, right? And then he's putting look good as well. And it's just one of those things, man, that if he gets everything put together, as we've talked about, if he can put it all together, there's nobody that can touch him.
Still.
Nobody.
No.
Still. And he's 44 years old. The rest of these guys are, the main, competition he has are in their 20s, really. So people half his age at this point. And he just put on a show. And then, once again, 82 wins. It makes no sense. I remember when the kid started. I remember watching him whenever he was at Stanford, and winning those tournaments. And he had that funny looking hat on with shorts. I'm like, man, who's this skinny kid? And watching him dominate, I'm like, man, he might be something. And then turn out to be, you never would have dreamed it would have been this.
No.
So it's just incredible. Now, let me ask you this, Keith Gibson. You're a fan of Tiger Woods, even though you have defamed his name and said he was done. I, however, stuck with him through it all. So
I never said he's done. I said he wouldn't break the record.
Mm-hmm.
Not wins, major wins.
Right. So let me ask you this. As a esteemed athlete that you are.
Thank you.
And a veteran of many competitions. Let me ask you this. So the 82 wins, tied for the most ever was Sam Snead, right? Mm-hmm. So I got 2 questions for you. First question is this. 82 wins. If he never wins another major, now that he's tied 82, and let's say he gets a couple more just other events, okay, and gets to 90. Who knows? I mean, if he stays healthy, he can get to 100. You just never know, right? Got a few years left. if he never wins another major but ends up beating Sam Snead's record, is that good enough for you to say he's the greatest golfer to ever live?
I still think he's the greatest golfer to ever live.
You think he is?
Yeah, I do. I do, because you look at the competition. I mean, nothing against Sam Snead,
Right.
but he didn't have the competition the Tigers had to face.
Right.
There wasn't the field of golfers, of good golfers that Tigers had to beat his entire career. Tigers is the best golfer ever to play the game.
Yes.
I mean,
and also think about this. Everywhere you go, including off the course, on the course, every shot you take, whatever, your personal life, but also on that golf course, there's a camera in your face like 3 feet away. Sam Snead never had to deal with that at all.
Right.
Never. All the pressure, the crowds, the this, the that. You know, he's had so much, some of it, as we talked about, it's brought on himself, of course, but a lot of it's because he's so damn good and the camera follows him wherever he goes. And when you're expected to win all the time, you know, but so, and I agree with you, if he doesn't get the majors, you know, that would be great if he does. But at this point, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
No.
I mean, with the 82, yes. But here's the thing with Tiger. Will it be good enough for him not to beat the – I don't think it will.
No.
I do not think it will. In fact, on Facebook, Von Mick, as he's known as on Facebook, put, as I shared a picture of Tiger when he was like 6 years old with Sam Snead. Yeah, he actually played the last 2 holes with Sam Snead, turns out. And then Sam Snead signed the card. Tiger at 6 years old shot a +2 for a 6-year-old. Sam Snead shot even, and it pissed Tiger off. 6 years old. So maybe that was his motivation to beat him eventually, you know. But anyway, and here's my what was my second question going to be? Dang it. There's going to be something else. I can't remember what it was. Damn. Anyway, but still, I agree with you. I think he'll be he's obviously the greatest ever. And let me ask you this. Now that he's got 82 and he looks healthy, how are you feeling about the majors?
Show me another tournament where he stays consistent. I think consistency is the key. If he can put the next maybe 2-3 tournaments, he doesn't have to win, but 2-3 tournaments where he stays consistent in the top 5, 10, then maybe we can have another discussion about where's he at in the majors.
Right.
But I need to see that consistency from him because it's not really been there the last few years. Did he look very healthy? Yeah, he looked healthy. He looked calm. He looked comfortable. But there wasn't huge crowds there either. There wasn't a ton of people around him.
Right.
So you show me 2 more tournaments where he stays healthy, stays comfortable, and plays like he did in Japan. Then we can talk majors.
Right.
Until then, I want to see that consistency from him.
Right. And here's where I want to point out where this is different than, say, NFL, you know, or another sport like that, NBA, right? Where you see people tear it up in the regular season, but then come playoff time and to win, you know, a World Series or a Super Bowl or the NBA title or whatever. To me, this is different because this is not like regular season. When you're in a tournament, that's a tournament. This isn't just like go out and play 18 holes with somebody and win. You know, this is playing over a stretch of a weekend over 4 days against the best in the world every week and still get 82 wins. Right. That's what's incredible to me. So to me, that's why it's not all about the majors, but I guarantee you, like we said, that won't be good enough for Tiger. And if he doesn't beat Jack, it'll stick with him till his dying day because he's just that kind of competitor. So anyway, but awesome. Look forward to the future. Yep.
It was awesome to see that. I'm glad you texted me and let me know that because I wouldn't even have known that'd be it because we got family pictures that day. So.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes, it is. Hey, Cubs hired a new manager. We talked a little bit about it last week. There were some final candidates. Girardi was hired in Philadelphia to replace Gabe Kapler, and the Cubs hired old Grandpa Rossi, David Ross, as their new manager.
Your thoughts, Keith Gibson?
I'm 50-50 on this, Sam Erwin, and here's why. Grandpa Rossi, David Ross, was a great catcher, which we all know catchers make great managers, most
of the time. I
think he will bring in some new life to the clubhouse. I think he'll bring some fun back to the clubhouse. Knows the game very well inside and out, so I have no problems with that. My problem is discipline. You're best friends with John Lester, Jason Hayward, good friends with Rizzo, Bryant. You're good friends with these guys. Where's the discipline going to come from?
Right. You know what? You bring up a great point because I remember whenever I was taking my classes at Murray State to get my master's to be a principal, my favorite professor there, who was a superintendent over 25,000 kids, said, when it comes to dealing with your staff, be friendly, but don't be friends. And that's a really good point, is how is David Ross going to how's he going to handle that when he's known these guys forever, they're friends, and now all of a sudden you got to be a manager and kind of tell them what to do. That's going to be tough for him, for sure.
So tell me how John Lester's going to react the first time he comes out there and tries to take the ball from him.
Right. How's that going to go? Yeah.
Right.
Now, you hope that they can, do a fine line between it and realize that he's the manager now. And I'm sure that'll be worked out in the off season. I don't know, or it'll just blow up in their faces. I'm not sure. My concern is with zero management experience. Yes, he was a great catcher and a leader on the field. I get that. I do. And he's a very likable guy. And I know the attachment of Cubs fans because he helped win a World Series. I get that. But without the management experience, and here you're supposed to come in with all this talent and try, I hope they give him some time and don't expect greatness right off the bat.
I don't think it was the best decision the Cubs could have made. As a diehard Cub fan, you know that. I think the whole world knows that. Mm-hmm. I was not in favor of David Ross being the Cubs' next manager. But it's happened. So I guess we'll have to play with it and see what happens. The offseason is coming soon, and the Cubs are going to have to make some moves and make some decisions. And I think you're going to see a little bit different roster.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see.
I've seen some people today were getting bought out. Some relievers, they were buying them out.
Yeah,
and they got Rizzo to deal with. Still, that's a no-brainer. I mean, they'll surely re-sign him and figure something out there.
Oh yeah, they'll pick up that option. But Brian is going to grievance over his service time when he first came up. They're finally getting to that.
Oh, I was wondering when that was going to come around.
It's going to be an interesting offseason for the Cubs. And how is David Ross, as friends with all these guys, going to handle that is my question. Right. How are you going to handle a guy who's disgruntled? But, I just don't think it was the right fit at the right time. It doesn't work for me. But, maybe I'll sit here and next October and say I was wrong. But
you hope so. I wonder if, of course, the Madden thing, as we know, you and I both.
Madden got a raw deal.
He got a raw deal. I don't like how that went. And I often wonder if they couldn't have, if this was kind of their plan. I mean, this probably wouldn't went over well either. But maybe kind of do a transitional phase of do Madden one more year, let Ross sit beside him on the bench, kind of learn the ropes, and slowly work his way in. And then the following year, take over after he's kind of had a year under his belt of learning right beside Madden, and people, removing him from being the former player friend, and now you're the manager in waiting almost. But maybe Madden may not have liked that idea either. One more year and then I got to get this guy ready. It's maybe not. So
yeah, I don't know, but I'm 50-50 on it. I love Grandpa Rossi. I think as a player, as a leader, as a guy who knows baseball. I mean, he's been on winning teams from Dodgers to the Cubs to the Red Sox to everywhere. He's been on winning teams, so he knows how to win. I'm just not sure how that's going to translate into discipline, into game decisions, and how you're going to handle guys who you're friends with on and off the field. So that'll be interesting.
Yes, sir.
Well, Sammy, we can talk a little bit of college football if you want before we bring our first guest of the day on, Drew, if you want, or we can wait and talk to it with him. What's your take?
You know what? I think we wait and talk to it with him, being the old college boy that he was. We got Florida, Georgia coming up. Big game this weekend, so I want his take on that as he's played in that environment before. I say we wait on our friend Drew.
Well, let's take a quick break here. Listen from our sponsor, Bees Trees. And Sammy, Greg Miller, Bees Trees. You can always trim your trees around your home if you've got some hanging, low-hanging trees. You can always trim those up. But if you've got some big bushes around your deck too, you can trim those. Why, Sammy?
Well, because when you trim your bushes or you got something hanging like that, you definitely want it trimmed, because anything that takes away from your deck is not great. You want people to see your beautiful deck, and if you keep your bushes trimmed, you got to show the pumpkins off because it's that time of year. Yeah, and there's no better than Greg and Bees Trees. Right.
Yeah, so our good friend Greg Miller, we'll hear from him. Take a quick break, and we'll be right back here on the Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.
This is Dr. Katie Burmeister with Back to Action Chiropractic in Flora and Salem. I have 20 years experience treating everything from injuries and accidents to pregnancy and pediatrics. We give you the care you need without inflating your bill with unnecessary therapies. We accept most insurances, so give us a call at 618-662-4828. Back to Action Chiropractic. No gimmicks, just good chiropractic.
Here we go. In 5, 4. Oh, by the way, Drew, just so you are up to speed, since we do this on Tuesday, just remember it airs on Thursday.
Right. Okay.
See what I'm saying? Okay.
Right.
You're smarter than Erwin then. All right, here we go. In 5, 4, 3. Welcome back, everybody, to the Behind the Mic show from the Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill. Your host, Keith Gibson, Sam Erwin, here to talk a little college football with our guest this week, Drew Ferris, former Florida Gator. And Drew is nice enough to join us from sunny Southern California. Drew, I see we got palm trees in your background, sunshine. Why don't you just rub it in?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I'm trying to move over here, so maybe I'll, won't get any of that in the view here.
Thanks.
But
There it is. I see a nice palm tree. What's the temperature out there?
Oh, sorry about that. My bad.
Well, yeah. What's the temperature out there in San Diego?
You know what? It's been hot the last few days, but today and the last week it was pretty hot. It was like 91 at sometimes. A couple days. It was crazy. It was like a heat wave for us. And then really it's 73, 71. No humidity. It's
perfection.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
do the show again. I'm not sure, but anyway. Hey, as a former college athlete at the University of Florida, a lot of things to talk about, and we're going to get into a lot of things. Let's start with one of the biggest things that's happened this week. On Tuesday, the NCAA approved nationally that student athletes can now be paid for their likeness, which gets me all giddy, Drew, because soon we can have college football and college basketball video games back.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's what people were really excited about.
But as a former student athlete yourself, what does that mean to you, and are you in favor of this?
One, I'll answer the first part. One, what does it mean to me? To me personally, it doesn't mean too much, just because I never got called up to go down to the dealership and do a TV ad, But I mean, it doesn't really mean much to me personally. Do I agree with it? Yes, I do agree with it. I don't see a problem with it. I think I like it because there's guys that are blessed because they worked really hard to get their talents, or maybe you got to bless them with talent. Either way, they can go and make themselves more than an athlete. I mean, they could go and learn how to do a marketing campaign. They can learn to be a part of some sort of marketing tool and whatnot, and get paid for it, and learn the process and learn how to do that. It kind of makes me wonder about agents, are they going to have, or does that mean that marketing agents are going to be able to sign, or media agents are going to be able to sign college athletes, in that regard, which probably will happen. But I think it's great. And then let's see. And then also, what I was going to say is there's guys that can, maybe support their families with a little side income. Some guys maybe that need to send money home or whatnot, and all that stuff. So, I don't have any problem with it. Like I said before the show, I think it's going to be more regulated than what it was in the past. But it's just, there will be a huge, there already is, but there's going to be a huge divide because between the mid-major D1s and the major D1s. So I'm just thinking about it now, say there's going to be businesses in Gainesville, Florida that are going to be able to say, hey, high school recruit, once you get here, we're going to be able to give you a $20,000 or $50,000 marketing deal that you're going to get paid for. You know what I mean? So, and schools like Toledo and other places like Bowling Green and some of those places, Western Michigan, they're not going to be able to do that, So, but you know what? And the last thing I'll say, I'll let you guys, I know I'm kind of hogging the mic here.
No.
But you know what? It might, make those guys, some of those guys who have off the field issues might want to make them shape up a bit. Because if you're going to get kicked out of school, you're also going to get kicked out of some money potentially from your likeness. And there's only going to be a few guys on a team that are actually going to get, used for their likeness, So anyways, that's my take.
Well, let me ask you something, Drew, then, as obviously, amazingly, as people are listening to this podcast, find it hard to believe you're the only one that's played D1, sports. So that's why we ask you, But as being on a team, obviously in that level of D1 and the competitiveness that there is, do you see any drawbacks to this? Like, say, when a quarterback gets those deals on a college team, or the running back or the wide receiver, like you're saying, a long snapper does not, the linemen probably don't. Do you see that is that going to cause problems in a locker room?
That's a great question. Personally, I don't think it will. And if it does, those other guys just need to suck it up, because that's just life. They're getting a taste of reality, both the people who aren't getting paid for their likeness and the ones who are. So, I think it's good all around. And I don't know, I think it depends how the player also acts. If starting quarterback for a big university is kind of showboating and being cocky and kind of, forgetting about his teammates and thinking he's the next, Peyton Manning or whatever, going around doing all these commercials, and they wants to be kind of an asshole about it, then that's his deal. And that's, to me, it's like, that's an issue. The locker room, that's just something that shouldn't stop this rule from happening. But maybe there'll be something like that. But honestly, I don't see it really, happening in that regard. So, but
no, I haven't dug in too deep to see if there's any limitations either of how much they can make. I haven't read any stories about the details exactly of it yet. So do you think limitations would be good, though, that they can earn up to so much? Because as we talked before we went on air and came back from break, is the fact that they will be taxed on this. So there's going to be repercussions for making the money.
Right. I don't think there should be a limit on how much you should do, and how much they should make. But there should be, they should use this as, for like, if they're gonna make the student athletes being used for their being able to get paid for their likeness, then they should raise the requirements for eligibility in the NCAA academically, because, for example, if I'm a football player for USC, right, and say if like Nike wants to fly me out to Boise, Idaho to do or Eugene, Oregon to do a photo shoot in February, right? I can't do that because I'm going to miss class and I'm going to miss workouts. So maybe there's, they can only really do the local stuff. But it is kind of where do you draw the line in that regard? Because if guys are like missing class, one or two guys are like missing class and missing team workouts to go do a photo shoot for, Nike or something, or to go do some commercial, it's probably not, it's going to have some negative consequences throughout the team and throughout the coaching staff and throughout the university. So there should be some rules in that regard for that. But again, that's only going to be a few players per team,
Right.
So I don't think it's going to be that. I don't know if capping their income is going to be or opportunities is going to be realistic, but it's not a bad idea. It's just implementing that might be really difficult.
Well, two things. One, Drew, if you were playing for USC, you'd be getting paid anyway. And then two,
that's right. And I wouldn't be paying taxes on it.
That's right. Yeah, that's that under the table stuff. And Bob's got a house and all that. Yeah. But anyway, and then two, Keith, to throw into this conversation, Drew brings up a good point. Is a lot of these colleges, as we know, you may get some deals, but it'll be from like car dealerships or a furniture store, whatever, but it'll be very regional. There's very few college athletes that actually reach that upper echelon of where they're known nationwide, to where they may get a Nike commercial or, like University of Florida's, has the Jordan brand now. So, they may come down and do something in that terms just to help promote the Jordan brand.
And they might,
of course,
right. They could go to the university. Like if Jordan wanted to go to the university and film a couple guys running a couple routes, or doing a Gatorade wants to show up and get, Kyle Trask dropping back and doing a commercial. I mean, if that's an hour or hour and a half photo shoot and commercial, you should make a few $1,000. I mean, why not pat his pockets a little bit, give the kid a little money? I feel like in our society, especially in the NCAA's view, is that they don't, maybe I'm wrong, maybe because I feel like that, I felt like this, I think they don't want to see young guys like get paid, because all these other people in society, like, man, it took me years before I really started making money in my life, you know? So they get a little bit, they feel like they need to earn their stripes. Oh yeah, kids don't need money, But you know what? It's our society it should be based off of, you know, you should get rewarded, or you should be, you know, paid for your time and your talents. So, yeah, I think if they show up to the university and do it, I think that's fine. If guys are flying out every other week to do this and that, and missing team workouts and missing class, I think that's defeating the purpose of a student athlete. But if like Gatorade or Jordan or Nike shows up to do a photo shoot and do a commercial or something in the swamp, you know, like a hype before the season or whatever, you know, there shouldn't be any problem with paying those players. You know, I don't know if that's what I do.
So my question to both of you is, the NCAA passed us unanimously on Tuesday. Nothing's being said of, is the NCAA taking a cut?
You know the answer to that, my friend.
Well, I mean, shoot, if they're going to take a cut, that means that the student athletes are employees, you know, which they're not. So no, I don't think they can. So that's, I don't know if they're like, I mean, they're probably try to find some legal loophole to take a cut of it, but they're not employees. If anything, they're employees of the university. They're not employees, so the university could take a cut. But I don't know. I mean, that's interesting that you say that, but I don't know. They don't deserve a cut.
No,
that's
no.
right. Exactly.
No.
Like Draymond Green said a couple weeks ago, which I rarely agree with anything Draymond Green said, but he called the NCAA, and what did he call it, Keith Gibson?
I don't remember now, but I sent the video to you, and I said
a dictatorship.
Dictatorship. That's right.
And I was like, that's 100% correct. So yes, and then finally, if we want to wrap up and move on to another subject, but just to wrap up, and I just lost my train of thought. Man, that's twice now, Keith Gibson. I've lost my train of thought.
Age, Sam Erwin, that's age getting to you.
It's age and CTE from playing football, I think, is part of it. But anyway, move on. I may think of it. We'll come back.
All right, well, we will. Yeah. You, as a big former Florida Gator, they got a big weekend here. You and Sammy got to be hyped. Florida, Georgia, biggest cocktail party of the year this weekend. A lot of on the line here for both teams. Georgia has struggled. Florida has struggled a little bit this year on and off. What's your take for the game this weekend?
Well, I got to stop you there. I don't think Florida has struggled at all this year. We've been in some close games, and we've only lost one game. So to say that we've struggled, we lost to the number 2 team in the country, and I don't even want to get into that. But I didn't like the way LSU played the game. I thought they knew they couldn't beat us if they just lined up and played. They had to kind of do a hurry-up offense.
Lots of holds.
Oh, I tell you what, I like both of you, but when I get 2 Florida Gators on the same show,
watch the film. That's all you got to do is watch
mercy.
the film. Yeah. No, but Florida, Georgia, what a great environment. You know, the largest outdoor cocktail party. So it's a big time deal, and it's what a game as well. I mean, this decides the SEC East as well.
Yeah, this will decide the East, I'm sure, and I mean, it'll be a close game. If you know, I've said this, and I really believe this. If we can just not turn the ball over, if we not fumble, it's really just not turn the ball over, and maybe not commit some penalties. I mean, we can win every game. We scored 35 points against South Carolina. I've been saying this. We can score 35 to 45 points a game if we just don't turn the ball over and play good defense. Now, our defense has been struggling. You're right, Keith. Our defense has struggled. We can't stop the run, which isn't good, especially against Georgia. And that's a problem. So we need to do that better. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I think we can win. I mean, I don't want to sound negative. I could see us losing, but you know, we just need to not turn the ball over, and we'll have a really good chance to win.
Now, Drew, you played in the Florida Georgia game when you were there, correct?
Correct.
What's that atmosphere like outside the stadium?
Oh shoot! Well, it's funny because I've actually tailgated the game and as a college student. Yeah, so when I redshirted my freshman year, I tailgated that. That was fun. And then when I was hurt in 2012, I also tailgated that, and that was fun. So yeah, and I've tailgated as like a beyond after I was done too. So I've tailgated the game actually like 2 or 3 times. It is insane. I mean, it is so fun. It is honestly, it's so fun. But the atmosphere of the game, I mean, I can remember in 2014, if you remember this, we beat Georgia pretty handedly. And this was right before the college football playoff was starting. And so Georgia was ranked like 11th in the country or something. They needed to win the East in order to like go, or beat up. They need to go undefeated to like go to the championship or whatever. And Florida we were unranked at the time, and everybody picked Georgia to beat us. I mean, nobody had us to win. We weren't having a great season, but anyways, before the game, I had this like my intuition. This is what I think I'm really good at, my intuition. My intuition, like we were doing the pregame warm up, and like I'm looking around, and I just get this feeling of like, man, like we're ready, like I think I was like, you know what? Like it was almost, how like when birds know a storm is coming,
Right?
And they all fly away. It was like I knew that this ass kicking was coming. I mean, like it was crazy. It was like we all gelled, and I had this feeling of like, man, I think we're ready to go here, like, and we come out, we rush for 427 yards. Like Kelvin Taylor and Matt Jones have huge days on the ground. We beat them like 42-18 or something. They scored a touchdown like the last seconds of the game to make it 18 or something like that. But we beat them handedly, and it's one of those games where like when whoever wins, we don't shake hands after the game. Like we run to our stands and jump around and celebrate. We don't go across the way and shake hands. Like it is not like that. And
it's a war.
Yeah, I mean it is nasty. I mean, like I remember, and I didn't grow up with the rivalry or anything, but like I remember I lost to them my first couple times playing them, and especially I remember my first time playing them. I remember thinking, okay, we're gonna, after the game's over, we lost. Like we're gonna walk across the field, shake hands. I mean, they did none of that. They ran. It was such a big deal for them to beat us, so they ran like directly to the end zone, jumped in the end zone. I'm like, man, like fuck. I was like, fuck these guys. I'm like, that's when I got kind of pissed. I was like, man, they're not even gonna shake our hand. Like it's like that, I was like, man, like and dang, I was like, you know what? I understand. Like I'm a specialist. Like I'm really, whatever. But it just was like it kind of left like a. Like, man, I really hate losing to these guys now, So when I beat them, when we beat them my senior year, it was like a really big moment. It was like my bowl game. It was like it was my best memory of college football. When people ask me what's your best memory, as like beating Georgia my senior year and ruining their hopes of winning a national championship was awesome. So they're an impressive club. They're good, but it was just,
Drew, were you the long snapper on that fake field goal where the holder ran it in for the touchdown? Oh,
yes, I was. I call it my first touchdown snap. So I have a stat there, but it's funny because every year it like surfaces on Twitter, and I always quote tweet it or whatever, and people all really support me and are behind it. But it was funny. So Mike McNeely, if you remember that name, he was the holder, and he is a great guy. I think he's about to be a doctor now, but he walk-on guy, just busted his tail every day.
Bags groceries as well. He was bagging groceries.
I think he bagged groceries the next day.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
So, yeah, he worked at Publix. I mean, that dude, his locker was right near mine in the back. All the walk-ons are in the back locker room. So it was fun to. I'm like really good buddies with him. I have nothing but respect for him. So he gets down there at holder, and like all the coaches, I'm pretty sure, are like yelling like fake, watch the fake, And so it's so loud in the stadium. So the coach tells me, hey, like snap it on set. If you don't hear a set call, you don't snap it, because we don't want to snap it early. He's not looking. So he yells like set at first, and I don't hear him. So I'm not looking at his mouth, and then reading his lips, and then like I kind of see him flinch again. I'm like, oh, okay, you ready? And so I snapped the ball, and I remember it was a great snap. I remember I snapped it, and I just like fell to the ground, and I'm glad I didn't get like a chop block, because the guy on the left D tackle, I fell left. The left D tackle was like engaged with somebody, and when a lineman is engaged with another lineman, you can't cut him on the knee. So it was good that the refs didn't call it. I didn't like hit him hard, but like obviously not, but it was good that they didn't call that. But it was fun. It was really fun. That I remember that play. I'll never forget that play. It's fun to watch. And
it set the whole tone for the game. It was an ass whipping after that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they were winning 7-0 at that point.
Yep.
And then I'm pretty sure they were winning 7-0 or 0-0, and then we scored that. And I mean, I remember our whole sideline was so lit up. It was so fun. It was awesome. So yeah, that was cool. That I'll never forget that.
Very cool. And by the way, Keith, the CTE went away. It came back to me. I was going to say on the paper play stuff that it's going to be even more work for the head coaches to do, especially recruiting, because now you've got to come with a marketing plan for the superstars of here's the commercials we can get you, here's the money we can get you, so forth and so on. I was going to add that. Right. So coaches got even more on their plate when it comes to recruiting. So anyway,
they do. You know what? In the coach, but that's a great point. I think what's going to happen is like recruiting coordinators and people, everyone outside the coach is going to pitch them that. You know what I mean? So like, hey, so and so has done this commercial, that commercial, and made this amount of money. Like this is the opportunity here in this town. The coaches are want to stick to football, but they're gonna have what you mentioned is really good. What you mentioned is really good because the coaches are gonna have a hard time. A coach at, for example, let's say Utah, okay, a coach at Utah is gonna have a really really hard time convincing a star player to not go to USC, because hey, if you make it big at USC, you can make $100,000 off the field as a college student. You can, set yourself up for life. And Utah, there's no market for there. I mean, it's a small city. I mean, they're not going to have billboards like LA, not like LA. So it's going to be hard to get kids out of UCLA, USC, and stuff like that. Oregon's going to was going to love this because they're going to Nike's going to come in and pay them money to do commercials. So, but again, those schools are also already getting recruits, and you know what, like Washington, schools like Arizona and Arizona State and Utah and other schools like that, they're going to have to then compete. They're just going to have to figure a way to get a big enough market to get some of these guys, So, and again, it's only going to be a few guys, so it might not be that big. Right. It'll affect the bigger player, like the really high key players, but overall in recruiting, it's I don't think it's going to shock it so much, like as much as people think, but it will affect it.
Yeah, it will. And here's my thought, like, those superstar recruits that everybody covets, there's just, there's a few of them that are just like ultimate change your program type guys. So imagine if you're the, University of Florida, you got the Jordan brand behind you, which is powerful as well. And who says it won't be like free agency, Keith Gibson? When they bring in a LeBron to LA, who do they have sitting there? They had Kobe, they had Magic, these people that can talk to and really recruit him in there. And now University of Florida can say, hey, we got these 2 recruits coming. Michael Jordan, can you come down? Can you imagine being a high school senior football player, walking and Michael Jordan sitting there to talk to you about what he can do for you in terms of commercials? And good Lord, who says no to that?
Right. Good point.
Anyway,
well, we'll definitely want to see where it goes from here as it was past Tuesday. And, Drew, I know you're a big college football fan too, getting back to Georgia, Florida, but were you shocked to see Michigan whip up on Notre Dame last weekend? Like the way
no.
Really?
Not at all. No, not at all. I believe this for years, and it's funny because I've talked about this with other people. Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's a great program. They have great talent. They have really good players, and they have some great players in the NFL. But they are a highly overrated team, and they've been overrated for years, every single year. And that's not to say they're not good, but they're not top 10. You know what I mean? And I think that was proven in the playoffs last year, because it's one thing to lose. It's another thing to not be competitive. Now I know Alabama got beat pretty bad by Clemson, but that's Alabama is Alabama, that's different than Notre Dame. But when Notre Dame plays the quote unquote big boys, you know what I mean? When they go in, when they play Notre Dame in the national championship 2012, I know it's a long time ago, but they got rolled. I mean, they're not, it's one thing if they were competitive against elite, really big time schools, but they're not, so it's one thing you can beat Wake and Duke and Boston College and Syracuse, which or some of those programs they're good teams, but they're not like powerhouse teams. And if you're going to be ranked in the top 10 and considered in the college football playoff, like you got to be like an Ohio State, a Clemson, Alabama, LSU. Florida, I'll throw us in there, Georgia, right? You have to be one of those teams. So they're not one of those teams. They're really like a 15th or 17th ranked team, 20th. They're in the top 25, but they're not up there competing. They're not ready and compete for national championships. I mean, they don't play a tough enough schedule, and they're just not. That's not what they are. They have great athletes, and they produce good players, but let's just be honest. I mean, they're not, and I don't know. I like to see them do well because John Carney, one of my biggest mentors in my life, he kicked at Notre Dame in the 80s. He played 23 years in the NFL as a kicker. Really good guy. I kind of jab at him about Notre Dame, but I wasn't surprised to see them lose. I don't want to see them lose. I'm not a hater of Notre Dame, but let's just be real. They're not a top 5 team. They're not a top 8 team. They're not a top 10 team. I mean, so, I don't know. That's my take. I'm not surprised. I mean, I was kind of surprised to see that big of a score differential. But again, they haven't been really competitive against really good teams anyway. So that's my take.
Okay, well, say you've been on Harbaugh's case all year long, how he's kept a job. Does that keep him a job another year, even if he doesn't beat Ohio State?
You know what? Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in all of college football and just football in general. So it's it's so crazy because how in college football, I guess like 5-10 years ago, it was like college football head coaches jobs were like week to week, right? Mm-hmm. Like it was like, so-and-so lost. Like, is he going to, is he on the hot seat? I mean, like everyone was on the hot seat after a loss. It was crazy. And now it's spilled over to the NFL. It's like, so-and-so's they're 2-3. Is he going to get fired? Like, they're talking about Freddie Kitchens getting fired in Cleveland. I mean, like no one has any patience or there's
Cleveland.
no room. Yeah, that's a different story. But my point is that Coach Harbaugh shouldn't ever be on the hot seat. He should be there as long as he wants to be there. He's a phenomenal coach. He's a groomer of young men and football players. I have nothing but respect for him, and I love watching him coach. And no, he shouldn't have to be like, I beat Notre Dame, bought myself another year. No, he's not like a Willie Taggart, one of those big coaches. Like, no, that's not him, and that's not a shot. I mean, I guess that's a shot at Willie Taggart, but I mean,
that's fine.
I don't know.
That's allowed.
I don't want to sound like I'm putting guys down. I'm really not out here to put guys down. It's not about putting anyone else down. It's just saying that.
You hear that, Erwin? It's not about putting people down.
Right. Well, you know what? And I love Drew Ferris. He's a friend of the show. He's a good man, but I do disagree on this because here's the deal. You're getting paid millions of dollars to produce. He has not produced at Michigan. Beating Notre Dame was big. I think that buys him a couple weeks. But if he plays Ohio State and and it's not just me. There's plenty of Michigan fans that have turned on him as well. And
right.
If he goes to
high
Ohio
expectations.
There is. Absolutely. You go to Michigan, you're supposed to win. That's it. They expect that. A rich history. But if he goes to Ohio State coming up and gets blown out again, excuse me, that may be it for him. So putting a Band-Aid on.
Wasn't the game last year really close? I mean, hasn't the games been close against Ohio State?
No, they got blown out bad last year by Ohio State.
But okay, maybe the year before there was that remember that fourth down call that was really controversial. That was the year before. Okay, so and I don't know Michigan's I don't even know Michigan's record, and I don't know what their record has been. I think Michigan fans kind of I think all college football fans, they kind of need to chill out when the team's not doing well. Obviously, it's maybe not the coach's fault. I understand it's his responsibility as a coach to, the success of the team. But when you have a coach like Jim Harbaugh, who's a winner and who's a great coach, I think he deserves a little more respect than being on the hot seat week in, week out. And you know what? At the end of the day, as a player, hey, the players are on the field. You know what I mean? Those guys are the ones clinking shoulder pads and helmets and running the plays. Harbaugh can't move people he's not out there, playing quarterback anymore. So
yeah, because he's in khakis.
You're right, exactly. He looks so much better in khakis, and right, but but you know what? You know what? It's like they want to put all this on the coach and stuff like that, and I just feel like that there is to an extent, yes, that's true, but you know what? Players got to play, man. I mean, and that was a big thing about Muschamp. He always told us, like, it comes down to us. Obviously, he wasn't separating himself from us, but the players have to execute. Bottom line, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's just how it comes down. If they're going to be inconsistent or whatever, that's their deal. But anyways, yeah, that's my take.
Well, speaking of consistent, Drew, I don't know how close you follow the Fighting Illini.
Oh yeah, I do.
Oh,
I do follow them. They beat the Cheeseheads.
That's right.
Yep.
And they beat Purdue last week, and they're now 4-4.
Didn't they win this past weekend too?
Yeah, they won two Big Ten games in a row. They've got Rutgers, who they should beat this week. They're 20-point favorites, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, over Rutgers. Then
Rutgers
they go to
is really
Michigan
bad,
State. They go to Iowa, and then they get Northwestern. Sammy, Lovie Smith could pull this off and be a bowl team this year because Northwestern hasn't won a game yet. I don't know what's wrong with Pat Fitzgerald's teams. That's just unlike a Pat Fitzgerald team I've ever seen.
Right.
Iowa's not great. Lovey could get 6 wins here easily.
I think the Rutgers and Northwestern, I think you can pretty much book that. Depending, where is the Northwestern game at?
At Northwestern.
Yeah, so that's, the bad weather that's going to be up there around that time of year. You never know, But this definitely helps Lovey.
Oh, no, excuse me. It's at home. It's at home.
Oh, well, then that's you can almost maybe mark that one down then. But this definitely, we talk about hot seats with Jim Harbaugh. Lovey was definitely on a hot seat, but now I think we're turning it, especially beating Wisconsin. Boy, when you beat Wisconsin, that bought him another year at least right there. Then you go to a bowl game. Now
and
all of a sudden,
that's a coach where you say, okay, it bought him another year. Jim Harbaugh beating Notre Dame isn't like, oh yeah, he bought himself another year. I mean, I know the expectations are higher at Michigan than they are at Illinois. But listen to this. So one of my good buddies who I see frequently, he lives in town, and I saw him this morning. He's probably the most he's probably the most famous Illini football alum to this day. Steve Weatherford is one of my good buddies. Yeah, the punter. One of my really good buddies. I was with him today. If you go check his Twitter, he was at the gym that I was with him today. He posted a video of him working out with an Illini hoodie on, and he said he got it from his old strength coach at Illinois. Sent it to him. So yes, I follow the Illini because of him, and also my mom. I think I told you is from Decatur, Illinois.
Right.
And a lot of my family went to U of I. My mom did not get in, and so she's still bitter to this day that she did not get in because all of her her sisters got in, and her grandmother and her mom and dad went, and like her aunts and stuff like that went. Like a lot of people went in her family, and she didn't get in. So yeah, I've got a little bit of Illinois blood in me, so I root for the Illini, and it's awesome to see them win. Honestly, I think it's what makes college football great is when you see upsets like that. I think that's what college football is all about. It's all about upsets, and it's awesome to see Lovie Smith win up in Illinois. Hopefully, change the culture a little bit. So that'd be cool to see.
Well, Drew, we're running out of time. We're gonna have to take a break here in just a second, and we appreciate you joining us today, talking NCAA, all things NCAA. We love having you on the show, even though you're a former Gator, and Erwin loves your Gators.
Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
No,
but we do need to bring him back because we got to talk Lakers with what we're seeing so far. As he is a California boy, big Laker fan, and then we also got to talk about his XFL.
Right.
We did, experience. Right. So we're gonna talk about that. So we'll bring him back in another week or two to kind of continue this on because he's always such a good interview and very knowledgeable. So we appreciate having you on, man. Thanks again.
Yeah, you raised the knowledgeable level way up in the show, so we appreciate it.
That's really not saying a lot.
That's not.
I mean, it doesn't take much.
Hey, thank you guys for having me on. And again, it's always fun chopping it up with you guys. And it's fun for me to kind of give my opinions and I don't want to sound like I offended anybody. I don't know. People are kind of
just
soft
it's okay.
Well, no, I meant like just people listening about certain things. I don't know. I have my opinions, and I don't know. It's fun chopping up with you guys. Thanks for having me
That's
on.
why we love having you on, man.
That's right.
We love having you on.
That's
Welcome
right.
anytime.
Ladies and gentlemen,
All
Drew
right.
Ferris, former Florida Gator, talking NCAA football with us and all kinds of NCAA things. Drew, we thank you. We'll talk to you in a few weeks, and we'll go over your XFL stuff. How's that sound?
Sounds good. Perfect.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here from our sponsors. We'll be right back here on the Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.
Bees Trees, your local ISA certified arborist with over 10 years experience, specializing in tree removal, tree trimming, and with free estimates. Call Greg Miller of Bees Trees today at 217-260-4551.
Welcome back to Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill. Keith Gibson alongside Sam Erwin as we continue our Week 10 of Friday Night Mics as we're in playoff mode, Sammy, and we welcome in one of our favorite coaches, two-time Hall of Famer and Marion High School head football coach, Kerry Martin. Coach Martin, thanks for joining us again.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Hey,
I was just there Friday night. Got to watch him in action again. They look good. And then, of course, we got to talk to him on the playoff, selection committee, and has triad this week. And we said we'd revisit with Coach. So congratulations again on another great year. 8-1 going into the playoffs. Got you an important home game, and you've got triad. So now that you've had a couple days, Coach, to of course you said you're a little bit familiar with him anyway, but you got to watch some film as well. What can you tell us about triad coming up?
Well, triad's one of those teams that's got a great tradition and a long-time coach. And it's funny because I may have mentioned this the other night, but we played them in 2006, 2010, 2011, and then now 2019, all in the playoffs. And it's funny, there's certain things are certain in life, and there's death, and there's taxes, and then there's triad football. And triad football to me is always the same. They're always big, they're always physical, they're always well coached, and they run that option stuff, and they run it well. And they're not going to try to fool you. They're not going to throw the ball much. If they throw the ball, they're trying to play action for a touchdown. But 90% of the time they're a running team, and that's what they do, and they do it very well. So Sam, you saw the game Friday against Mattoon, and you know what they did to us or tried to do to us. And I think that was kind of at least somewhat good preparation for what Triad will try to do. They'll try to hold the ball, keep your offense off the field.
Agreed.
And and sustain long drives.
Yep, that was a good test for you guys. Like you said, good practice almost, really, because you're getting it again coming at you. Obviously with a better team, like you said, of course, Mattoon's kind of fallen on some hard times, I think. But at least it is a good practice, a good showing. It's kind of some live bullets, as you used to say, whenever we would practice and all that. So that kind of helps to try it a little bit for sure.
And Sam, I don't say live bullets anymore. So, times have changed.
Right.
That's right. One of those things. I remember saying that and thinking, I don't say things like that anymore. I mean, that's how things have changed in this whole world. It's like, wow. Yeah.
Very true. Very true. In fact, I told the story of when I was there talking to Kurt on the sideline after, you got to talk to Frankie Lusk a little bit, who was, awesome enough to come down and say hey to you. We were talking about how times had changed, and whenever, bless your heart, you let me come down and learn from you for a couple years of coach. And it was a halftime, and you were given kind of a, pump 'em up speech, and the kids weren't playing, real well at that time. And this was in that first couple years where it was definitely a transition. And I think I asked you, I said, can I say something? You're like, sure, absolutely. And I, being the intense person that I am, I won't go into great detail of what I said, but it was like definitely over the top. And a lot of the kids looked at me like, whoa, and then they walked off, and Coach walked up to me and was very nice, Keith. And he goes, Sam, times are different now. We can't really talk like that anymore. I went, oh, okay.
Well, Coach, with Triad this weekend, round one of the playoffs, you do get it home, but what are some keys to getting a victory in round one?
Well, I think, first of all, we've got to be really good on first down. I think defensively, we've got to be good on first down, and we got to put them in second and long situations. And certainly, if Triad gets into 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5, that's the game they want to play, because they can be a 4-down team, and they're not afraid to go for it on 4th and short. So if they have the opportunity, that'll just sustain drive. So we've got to be really good on first down. The other thing is, we're going to have to do something when we get the ball. We can't have drives where we turn the ball over, or we have to punt away, and we're not going to get that many possessions. So every possession we get, we've got to take advantage of. And then number 3, I think the turnover game will be big, because we've got to try to create some turnovers and steal some possessions, and then we cannot commit any and give the ball back to a team that wants to go on 6 and 8 minute drives. Finally, number 4, I think special teams. I think a game like this, field position could be huge. If we can get some short fields and we can force them to drive long fields, that'll be huge for us. And I think maybe creating a score on special teams. You know, when you play a team like this, if they get ahead, then their offense works big time to their advantage. But if we can get ahead of them and maybe let their offense work against them. So we did that to Mattoon Friday. We were fortunate enough to get to a 3-touchdown lead, and it kind of made their offense, what they wanted to do Friday, work against them. And so that's kind of what we have to do with Triad, because if they get a 2-score lead on us and they can continue to hold the ball, it makes it real tough to come back.
Absolutely. It's kind of like I think we've talked about this before, kind of like the old Nebraska model. If you could get up on Tom Osborne in Nebraska, they struggled because they couldn't throw the ball as well as they ran, obviously, and they had to change up, and they weren't comfortable doing that.
Right.
So that, definitely a key for you. Now, Coach, we talked about what they do offensively. Triad on defense, do they have people that can, match up with you? Because you got, your quarterback. I love watching him play. He's a hard-nosed kid, and he throws a pretty ball. Your running back, of course, is a tough kid. And then, of course, your wide receiver, who had a big game on Friday night. And that kid's he's fast. He ran a slant at Keith, and that turned into about a 76-yard touchdown or so, because he's quick and he's tall and he's aggressive. So what do they have defensively that can match up with you guys? Or do you think
they're a physical defense. I mean, they're going to be tough to run the ball against. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, watching the games we've got on film, they're really good up front. They're down 4, and their 4-3 look are really good. Their linebackers are aggressive. I think, you don't know until you play the game, but I think we're going to have to, and it's no secret, we're going to have to try to, spread the field and try to do some things to create some space, because I don't think it would be to our advantage to try to run right at them to start the game. I think that kind of plays into their strength. So, fortunately, we're a spread shotgun passing team, or we can be, and we'll certainly probably try to mix up our run and our pass as best we can, and certainly try to keep them guessing. I think that's our best chance, and try to look for mismatches, Sam, where we can get them. And like I said, when we've got the ball, we've got to make sure we do something with it. Certainly, drive the ball, but we've got to get points on the board, especially if we get in the red zone. We cannot miss red zone opportunities. We're going to put points on the board and put pressure on them.
Well, Coach, at what time Saturday?
It's a 2:00 game at our place on Saturday.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'll keep everybody from up to speed on everything during our broadcast, and at cheapseatsbar.com as well. We wish you nothing but the best, Coach.
Whoa.
Sammy's got one more thing.
I got a couple things. We get feedback from people, on how to improve the show or what they would like to hear and all that. So just a couple of just to get to know you questions, Coach, if you don't mind. We got a little time here, not much, but a little bit. Number one, he used to always chart at least the first 10 to 15 plays. Do you still do that?
Not as much as I used to.
Okay.
I know that's it. My wife just asked me the same thing a few weeks ago if I was still scripting my first 10 or so plays. I usually have a script, but I don't always run it, and that may be the best way to answer. I'll always have a 10-play script. I don't always run the script. Sometimes I just go with what I think.
Well, yeah, and things can change. You could get a long return, and that just totally changes what you're – right.
Exactly.
Okay, number 2, we talked about this on the last episode, and I want to know, and I want our viewers to know a little something about you, is if there was one song that you need to get yourself or your team, maybe for a good workout, because I know you still work out, but work out or get the team fired up or get yourself fired up whenever you were playing yourself, is there one song, if you could only pick one song, what would it be to get you going?
Oh, Sam.
Have I stumped the great one? Man,
oh, man.
Ooh, yeah. You know what? If not one, give a couple, maybe.
Listen, I like to lift and to get pumped up. AC/DC was always a big favorite of mine. When I was a senior in high school, I can remember listening to AC/DC before games. So to me, that's the first thing I thought of was a good AC/DC song. To me, that was something that would get me fired up, and something I remember listening to before I went to the high school at Salem. I was an early AC/DC fan. That's pretty good stuff right there.
That's beautiful. You can't go wrong with that. Not at all. Not at all. Love it. In fact, I think Keith, did I pick Thunderstruck?
You did.
As one of my favorite. Yeah. So AC/DC, you cannot go wrong.
No.
So I'm kind of surprised Coach Martin didn't pick White Zombie, Thunder Kiss 65, because I really thought, because I caught a hard time, Keith Gibson, from Wes Turner and Matt McGrew, that I didn't mention enough White Zombie, because that's what we listened to. And they talked about. Coach Martin probably remembers those days, like, what is this music? Good Lord. But
yes,
and then one final question, and this is kind of a deep thought. If you need a little bit, that's fine. But just a random question. As you as a history teacher, okay, and this doesn't have to be anybody, throughout that, but just in general, if there was one person, famous, whatever, maybe a general, all the history you teach, or just a famous person or something like that, a sports person, if there was one person, past or present, if you could sit down and have a conversation with them, who would you pick?
Oh, there's no doubt. Sam, you didn't stump me at all. That's an easy question.
Okay, give it to me.
Jesus.
Oh,
That's awesome.
I mean, listen,
Right.
because this is the most impactful, profound, whether you believe him to be the Son of God or not, this is the most impactful and profound singular character in history. And so to sit down and have a conversation with the man that is claimed to be, and that I believe to be the true Son of God, and to ask to speak to him person to person. Oh my gosh. So he's a real dude that lived back in those days, and we claim as Christians he was something that other people may not believe, but wow, that's my person right there. That's the game changer in the world. So that's my guy.
That's awesome.
And Keith Gibson, that's why I asked the questions, because you get an answer like that.
That's
So there
exactly
you go.
right.
Yep.
Well, Coach, good luck Saturday. We'll keep an eye on you. We want you to get a win. We want you to move on and keep the train rolling for Marion and yourself.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and you're the best. It's great talking to you. I always have. It's like the best 10 minutes. Some of the best 10 minutes I spend in a week's time. So
don't tell Tracy
thank
that.
you guys for what you do, and you guys are awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, thank you, Coach.
Appreciate
Good luck.
you.
All right, man. Thanks.
Yep.
Have a good
Coach
one.
Kerry Martin of the Marion Wildcats. They have triads Saturday at 2:00. We'll keep everybody up to date on their game at cheapseatsbar.com. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back with more Friday Night Mics here on the Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.
Check out the all-new Ford of Tuscola. It's a small-town feel with great big deals. Pre-owned vehicles starting at $24.95. Online at FordofTuscola.com or call 217-253-3353.
Welcome back to the Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill. As we continue our Friday Night Mic segment, Playoff Edition, we welcome in our good friend from Benton High School, Benton Rangers head football coach Justin Groves. And Coach Groves, going from a 1-8 season to 8-1. We talked to you on Saturday night how that is so huge for your team, and now you draw Salem in the opening round. You've had a few days to watch a little film. What are we seeing from them?
Well, we're seeing a team that reminds me of the Benton Rangers a lot in a lot of different ways. They're obviously very well coached and play good defense. Their offense is one that's similar to ours. I think they want to establish the run game first, and they do, throw it around a lot. They've got a good quarterback, probably one of the better quarterbacks we've seen all year, and some skilled wide receivers. They play well on special teams. It's definitely going to be a match that we look forward to, but at the same time, we're seeing a lot of ourselves in them. They make, some of the same mistakes we do, maybe not as often as we have in the past, but I see not exactly a mirror image, but a lot of similarities between them and us.
Coach, when it comes to obviously playing somebody different, you watch film and that, of course, and they're watching film on you. So in this amount of time that you got, which isn't a lot to get ready for this team, do you throw in as best you can? Of course, you got most of the playbook in, but do you try to throw in some wrinkles on offense, maybe something that they haven't seen, maybe some trick plays, things like that maybe haven't shown up on camera that you kind of maybe saved up for this moment?
Not really. We actually simplified things even farther and tried to eliminate any distractions and get rid of the things that could waste time this week. Because although you have, technically an extra day versus the week before with playing on a Saturday, you don't want to waste any time. You don't want to get to Saturday and go, man, we really didn't get enough reps at this, or man, we missed one opportunity here. So we've eliminated some things that we don't think will pay us dividends, and rather focus on simplifying the offense and putting our kids in a position where they can go out and play. It's going to be an emotional day. It's the first time, Benton's been to the playoffs in 7 years. These kids were 7 and 8 years old when that happened, and some of them. And it's going to be a lot of excitement. I think there'll be a lot of people there, and the town's really behind this football team right now. So the excitement, the atmosphere, all that. We don't want them also to have to say, well, who was I supposed to pick up on that particular play that coach put in this week and brand new, and we don't want that. So we're going to rehash some things and a lot of mental reps this week, and a lot of mental preparation, a lot of chalk talk, video, film watching, and just preparing our kids to go out and play and not have to think too much. They can enjoy the atmosphere that way and enjoy the moment and just go out and play and have a good time.
Have you cut back a little bit, Coach, on hitting this week too, and just make sure everybody stays healthy and not a whole lot of contact?
Yeah, about the same we've been doing. We started that process earlier. I think most teams do. You don't want to get to week 10 and have an injury that could be avoided by just not going out and beating each other up. We've focused on same things we focused on maybe early on in the season, and try to work on our fundamentals and focus on those things. And weather's going to throw a curve tomorrow at us. We got really cold weather coming in with a lot of rain, so we may end up changing plans up just a little bit, and I think we'll still be able to get out towards the end of the week. So we'll have pretty normal practices. I'm not going to lie. We didn't come out and obviously state day one that we were going to make the playoffs or had intentions to, but as a coach, you always have that goal in the back of your mind. You want to build towards that, and we're following the plan that we laid out in the summer, week one, and right now we're there, and we're getting to execute that and kind of live in that. So it's nice to achieve that and be at that point, be practicing here in week 10.
Coach, this might be a tough question. You may not want to give out any secrets or anything like that. That's fine, but it's just a question that popped in my head as we wing it on this show. So, when the ADD kicks in, that's what you do. But if you were, you just go with it. If you were coaching against yourself, like you said, you're getting ready to play a team that's very similar to you, how would you compete against Benton? What would you do if you're Salem's coach?
Well, I don't know what I would do if I was Salem's coach. I would probably do exactly kind of what I said. I would try to simplify things and not make my kids think a whole lot, and put myself in positions to be successful without having to rely on thinking and fast decisions and all that, because the environment that's created, and even not just a playoff game. Our place, I think, has been a fun place to play this year and had good crowds and all that. So I wouldn't want my kids distracted. I try to keep it as simple as I could, and I think that's not a bad place to stand for a lot of coaches this time of year.
Okay.
Have you seen a change in your kids this week at all? I know they're excited, but have you seen kind of a more mental focus too? That okay, we're here now. Let's take care of business.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have too many problems with that. Today was a day where a couple seniors were observing the way practice was going and kind of taking it all in. It's a cold day today, and just had a little different feel. There wasn't any sun out today. It was. It's almost like a mid-November kind of day. I felt like I should be in a deer stand or something. And, the kids were out there. They weren't necessarily bundled up or anything like that. They were enjoying it and embracing the cold. And one of my seniors said, "Coach, this just feels different." And I said, "It is different. It's special. That it's the first day where, we're really out there. We've got the whole field to ourselves because we don't have lower level practices going on. And, it's the focus is all on them and this playoff game, getting prepared for Salem. So, I'm looking forward to a really good week. And we've encouraged the kids to kind of soak in every minute of it. And it's been so far well received.
It's kind of like you soak in being on the show. It's understandable, Coach.
Well, sometimes you will look around and you think, man, is this real? Is this really happening? It's just really good that we're we all, I guess all three of us we're everyone else should be thankful with our faces for radio. This is a great meeting for us to get together.
It's true statement.
You got that right. Well, Coach, we have I've done it with the other two coaches for this podcast. We've got some feedback from some of our listeners, and they enjoy the football talk, but they also want to get to know the coaches a little better as well. So I just throw out some random questions. You're quick, you're funny, you're witty, so that's good. So this will be fun.
You talking to Coach or me?
Not you. That, of course,
Oh.
leaves you out. Yeah.
Oh.
So, anyway.
This will be fun.
Oh.
Well, maybe not.
For
Maybe
who?
for me, not for you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
okay.
Well, yeah. So, now we talked last week about, of course, songs to get you pumped up, and now we did get that from Coach, did we not?
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. Okay, good.
Did you?
But
What did I say?
I don't know that we did with him.
Oh, maybe
I don't
we
think
didn't.
we did. I don't think we did. Okay, great. So whether it's, whenever you played or with your own players, now, of course, I know kids these days listen to different things than we did when we played, but if there was one song that you could only pick one song to get yourself or your team fired up, to get them ready to go and go out and destroy Salem, what is the one song you'd go to?
Today, and this current day, I mean, and I can't explain why. I think it has to do with one of the pregame talks we did early in the season where we were kind of trying to portray how people felt about us from other towns and stuff. We kind of get like a country boy redneck kind of attitude or opinion of us when that's not necessarily the case. But right now, Blake Shelton, God's Country, blaring over the speakers at Tabor Field really gets me fired up. We stretch to that song. There's just something about it. I don't know why. I'm not even a huge Blake Shelton fan. I like some of his stuff, but that song right now gets me fired up. Now, 1995, Benton Ranger football going to Robinson to play first round of the playoffs. There would definitely be a different song playing.
Which would have been?
What was that one was?
Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses.
Outstanding. Yes. That was one of my top. Yeah.
It doesn't resonate with today's crowd. I'm working on it. One of my goals was to teach an appreciation for classic rock to our kids, and they have grown to it. We've got some songs in our playlist for practice and stuff. So they're getting a well-rounded education this year. And
that Blake Shelton, God's Country. I don't know, Keith, if you've heard that song.
I have.
That is that's a good song right there. Yeah, I like that. All right,
put your sweats on like you're getting ready to warm up for a workout or something. Kind of get your blood flowing a little bit. Take a picture of that, you working out, by the way, and then and play that song and just think about when it was the week we played this song. I think for the first time was the week of Sparta, and the following week was our military appreciation night. And it was that night they played it, I think, while we were stretching and warming up and doing some things. That was the night I first got goosebumps, and I was like, oh baby. And that song has really stuck with me, this year. It's one that we play pretty much every time we go out together.
Are you trying to say that I don't work out, Coach?
I would never say that about you. You maybe just said that yourself, but I would never say that.
He's a good man. He is. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Next question, Coach, which great answers right there, of course. We can always count on you for great answers. Next question. Throughout history, you're a teacher yourself, maybe not necessarily a history teacher, but I'm sure as smart as you are, you're into that a little bit. But it doesn't have to be, someone throughout history like a general or a president or anything like that. It could be someone famous. But if you could pick one person throughout, past, present, right now, whatever, that you could sit down and have a 15, 30-minute conversation with, who would it be and why? It doesn't even have to be a famous person, but is there someone out there, who and why?
Yeah, there's a bunch, but I'll go to one since we're on a football discussion. Walter Payton. Growing up, I've got a good story about the Chicago Bears. I can tell you that sometimes, kind of long, but how my family had season tickets, how we came about those. But I grew up going to Bears games all the time. 50-yard line visitor side, 8 rows up. I mean, I saw some unbelievable games in the 80s. I was at, a couple games in the 85 season, and, Walter Payton was my favorite player. In fact, I've got pieces of – do you remember when Soldier Field had turf on it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so they cut that turf up and gave it to season ticket holders. I have a piece of it. I actually have a book that they gave out to season ticket holders when Walter Payton retired, and there was a painting that they gave him. I got a print of that painting, but I've got a book. It's called Sweetness. You can look it up. And I had him. It was autographed by him. My grandmother, I believe, went to the bank when he was doing autographs downtown, got an autograph. But regardless of all that, they didn't name an award after him for no reason. And when you talk about MVPs, to me, the number one award every year in postseason football is the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. And I just would like to talk to him, ask him a few questions, and his commitment to excellence and the way he the way he trained his body and the things he stood for and believed in. He was just somebody I always looked up to, and just that's one of those going back to a kid kind of things. You watch him play, you're no shot of ever talking to the man,
Right.
But yeah, if I go back and talk to somebody, that would be the guy I'd want to talk to.
Very cool. Very cool. Keith, any in-depth questions you want to ask so people get to know Coach a little better? Anything off the top of your head?
Out of the two hosts, Sam and I, who's your favorite?
Oh, that's obvious. I mean, good God.
Let's see. Hey, on this show, I'm going to be honest. It's like a rose between two thorns.
Are you the rose?
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
There's no better answer than that.
Hey, it's like I feel like sometimes like the stepdad and stepbrothers. I'm just wondering which one of you is Dragon and which one's Nighthawk. And if we ever put you in a room together, can we make enough room for activities?
Yes.
Don't know. That was a terrible
100%.
idea. Why did you let us do that?
There's so much blood. There's so much blood.
Oh, that's funny.
Awesome.
Well, Coach, I do have one question. And we asked the coaches this too, and we've talked about it a little bit. If you could go back to one instance where you've made an impact on a life, when would that be? Or one of your favorite moments of your life?
Oh, those are two completely different questions.
Well, they are. You can pick which one.
I like your style. You're really making this easy on me. So, I'll tell you what. Let's save the one about making an impact. Let's revisit that one because I might have a story that I'd like to tell later on that.
Okay.
And let's just talk about one of my favorite moments. Let's keep it in football. There was a game not too awful long ago in 2002. And there was a lot of good moments, but as a coach, as an assistant coach, this was one of my favorite moments. The Benton Rangers got beat by West Frankfort in 2002 by, I don't know, maybe 3 touchdowns or something. And West Frankfort was 9-0 and really just, mowing people down. I don't know what they were ranked in state and everything else. And they drew a Benton Ranger team that ended up finishing 5-4, 6-3 that year, and they drew them at home. So 9-0 versus 1 versus 16 kind of seed, and they got beat in that game by a couple touchdowns. The Redbirds did, and it was just a real exciting thing. It was something that you look at that no matter how far down you think you may be, you've always got a fighter's chance. And we come out and kind of shocked the world in that game, and that was one of my favorite memories. That was probably at least a top 5, or I won't talk about my own personal stuff in that regard, but let's revisit that because, that's something that's hard to quickly put into words because I try our whole staff, we don't just coach football. We are trying to help these young men become good husbands and fathers someday and productive members of society. And, there's a ton of stories, but I wouldn't be doing them justice on a whim. I'd like to put a little thought in that, and maybe hopefully here soon I'll have a real good one to share with you.
And we will. We'll revisit that next week after you kick the holy hell out of Salem in the playoff game. How's that sound?
Man, you guys, I appreciate it. I hope so. I hope you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to keep everybody up to date at cheapseatsbar.com. I'm sure you and Coach Johnson will keep us up to date as well. We'll keep an eye on you as we're in Tuscola covering the Wolves, and hopefully, hey, you get a win, Coach. You get the dynamic duo, the Mega Powers, next week in FBA. Face to face, you will get to meet Mo Money.
I'll have to be sure and wear clean socks for this. This sounds like a good time.
And you're going to town hat. That's right.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Coach Johnson, we're going to test him here to find out if he listens to the whole show or not.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
These go a lot better when he's not around. It's going to be
and I'm glad you brought that. I was going to say that. Thank God for one time we at least just get you without him dragging along, not adding anything to the show. It flows so much better. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, he means well. We love him.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Don't tell him I said that, and let's see if I catch anything at practice later this week, or if he says, "Hey, that wasn't very nice." And he's actually, I got to tell you too. This will really get him. So he made a bet this week.
Not a monetary bet because that's not his style. He bet a greatest fan punishment, which I'll tell you what that is in a minute. He bet the greatest fan with another young man that Notre Dame would beat the pants off of Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So
that didn't happen.
So he has to do the greatest fan this week, and he will have a large audience. The entire Benton Ranger football team actually will be watching that production. You know what the greatest fan is?
I do not.
Have you heard of the great? Okay, so we have some seats there in our stadium. Now there's several hundred of them. I don't know, maybe 200.
300, I think Britt told me. 300
Okay. Oh, he told you this. So you sit in the first one and you sit down and you say, this is what it feels like to be a fan. Then you go to the next one. This is what it feels like to be a fan. You do that
300 times.
Until you've completed the entire this is what it feels like to be a fan, or the greatest fan punishment. He has to say this is what it feels like to be a Michigan fan, I believe is what he has to say. So it's going to be interesting. I'm sure there'll be some cameras rolling, and he says he's going to bring a book because it's going to be a long night.
Yeah. Outstanding.
Well, Coach, good luck to you Saturday. We wish you nothing but the best. We thank you as always because you're not only one of our good friends now, whether you like it or not. You're a friend of ours.
I was afraid you were going to say that. Hey, I do not carry cash. I'm not bailing you out of jail at any point for any reason, unless I'm close by and can maybe make something happen. But so, we're friends, but your jail, there's two kinds. I always tell people, Brent told me this one I use all the time. There's two kinds of problems in this world, mine and not mine. And that one is not mine.
You could have been like my old man told me when I was 16 and getting ready to go uptown, cruise Maine. And he said, hey, Sammy, he said, if you go to jail, make sure and call me. I said, well, sure. Why? You gonna bail me out? He goes, no, because I like to laugh over the phone. So, very similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Coach,
good luck.
Beat the tar out of the Wildcats this weekend. Let's move on to round 2, and let's talk again next week. What do you say?
That sounds good. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Justin Groves of the Benton Rangers, the head coach, as they face the Salem Wildcats in the opening round of the IHSA Playoffs. This is Behind the Mic Show. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back here from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.
This is Dr. Katie Burmeister with Back to Action Chiropractic in Flora and Salem. I have 20 years experience treating everything from injuries and accidents to pregnancy and pediatrics. We give you the care you need without inflating your bill with unnecessary therapies. We accept most insurances, so give us a call at 618-662-4828. Back to Action Chiropractic. No gimmicks, just good chiropractic.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grills. We finish up our Friday Night Mic segment in playoff mode. It's week 10 of the season, first round of the playoffs, and we welcome in Flora Wolves high school head football coach. He's been with us since week 1.
I can smell the McBurgers cooking.
From 1-8 to playoff team, it's Coach Brian Tackitt.
Tackitt. Yeah. What's up, Tackitt?
Hey, how's it guys? How you guys doing?
We're great. We're great, Coach. We're excited for Saturday as we'll be there live again to have the game for everybody who can't make it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
We're excited to see the Flora Wolves in action again against a tough Tuscola team. And I know you've had a couple days to watch film. What are we seeing, Coach?
They're a good team. I don't think that they're real deep. There's a lot of guys go both ways, so that's good news. But they're big up front. But we feel like on defense anyway, at least our smaller, maybe a quicker speed up front can give them some trouble. Offensively, they're gonna spread the ball out. They've got a really, really good quarterback, and he'll run the ball. He likes to run the ball between the tackles. He's a good, tough kid. And he's got a couple of guys out there on the edges that are really great athletes. So, they score a lot of points. I can definitely see why they score a lot of points. But sometimes they have a tendency to give up some points too. So, again, it's kind of not been our formula for success as far as getting into shootouts. But hopefully we can get some things going offensively and slow them down defensively.
So would you say the only game that you had was definitely a good practice for what you're getting ready to face? Sounds pretty similar.
You bet. Yeah, you bet. Because of the quarterback can throw it and run it, and got a good running back there with him. But it seems like he's probably the main option on the ground. And then he's got a small receiver, very similar to the Miller kid from Alney, and then a tall, athletic sophomore that's really, really good athletes. So, they got a couple weapons on the outside, but yeah, that's a good point. I think the Olney game was good, good practice for us for this week.
So, and you said they're big up front.
Yeah, they're pretty big.
So a lot like Keith Gibson, then.
Exactly.
Really big and round up front. Awesome.
Yeah, we hope slow like him too. So.
No respect on this show whatsoever.
Do they have faux hawks? Do they have faux hawks and tight shirts? I need to know. I must know.
See fingers on film, so they got to be short. So.
Wow. I love you guys. I do. No, Coach, now you're going on the road, which I think you should be okay with. Suppose you played on the road all year.
Yeah, you're right. We played well on the road except for, week 9 there. So it's something that the kids ought to be comfortable with, have some confidence in. And, we played well on the road. Hope that continues this week.
Now it's going to be a little cold. It's going to be a little chilly Saturday. The high is supposed to be right around 45. So, that could help too. You guys are hard-nosed. The defense plays well. And if it's a little cold, that could help. What's going to be a key? Is it going to be the defense force some turnovers for you and the field position?
Yeah, the cold I think is a good point. So a lot of times you don't like to throw it in the cold or catch it in the cold. So if we can get into a ground control, clock control type of game. But I think on defense, we got to eliminate big plays. They've hit the guys on film that we've seen with some big plays. So if we can eliminate the big plays, tackle well, and force them to be methodical down the line, force them to continue drives, and then hopefully, they'll make mistakes, or we can force turnovers, like you said, and maybe shorten the game a little bit.
As I said earlier, with the Olney game is kind of a good prep for this game.
Yep.
With the way that quarterback ran the option, and a lot of times it was right between the tackles as well. He didn't take it outside. He just shot through the middle and then gone. What can you learn as a defense coordinator and as the team, of course, with your young kids? What can you learn from that? Was it a matter of just staying home and staying true to what you've coached and being disciplined, or is there a different defensive scheme that you may try to do? What did you guys learn from that?
Well, from the Olney game, you mean specifically that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of times the kids they're young and they try to make as many plays as they can, and we try to get them fired up to fly all over the field, and that we do want kids flying. We want 11 hats flying to the ball. But sometimes we look on film and we say, look, all right here you're trying to do the other guy's job, and if you just trust him, he'll do his job. And you got out of position, and now maybe he did his job, forced a cutback, and now you're not there. So, we really took a lot of look at film last week with Paris too, who was a little similar to Tuscola, and the Olney game, and we try to learn from that, and we're gonna maybe do a little bit of some different stuff up on front on the line as well too, and maybe. Coach Eblin back in the day had the old submarine call.
Oh, yes, that worked like a dream. Yeah. Uh-huh.
We worked on that today in practice, and we worked on maybe trying to clog things up and maybe even
just cause a pile. Yeah.
Yeah, cause a big, big old mess up there, and not let that have lanes to get through, and that'll maybe keep the pullers off our defense and linebackers too. So we formulate some things that maybe they haven't seen on film, and then just kind of get back to trusting each other too as well.
Now, Coach, the big question is, what color are you wearing Saturday out of your 9 different colored schemes?
It's like watching Oregon. Oregon, I swear.
Yeah. Well, white jerseys, but I don't know what color pants we're going to wear. Usually they let the seniors pick that as for a playoff game. So
orange. Yep. Yeah.
Probably orange pants.
Well, the good news is we're going to be there with you in the cold because we're going to be up on scaffolding, bringing the game live on Facebook to everybody who can't make it. So they can tune in at the cheapseatsbar.com Facebook page, Coach, and we'll be there with the game to bring them play-by-play and even a little video since we're going to do Facebook Live. And Sam, I'm kind of excited for that, aren't you?
I cannot wait. It was a ball the last time we did it. And now I'm a seasoned veteran. so maybe I won't suck as bad as I did the first time. And no, just looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's fun to watch, Tackitt coach, and it's fun to watch those kids perform and knowing it's Arms. I'm really looking forward to it. Tackitt, a couple hard-hitting questions. I asked Coach Martin the same thing, and I'll ask you because as I told Keith, with the feedback we get from people, they want to get to know the coaches as well as we, not just football. So just a little bit. So if there was, as you probably listen to the podcast, if there was, maybe we've asked you this, I'm not sure. Maybe,
no, we did.
We did okay, we'll ask you then a different one. Is throughout history, you being the big history teacher that you are, and it can be a celebrity, a general, a whatever. I think I know this. Maybe I did ask him this too, but it's okay to rehash. If there was one person you could meet and sit down and talk to for 15 minutes, past, present, whatever, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's pretty easy for me. It'd be Abraham Lincoln.
I knew that was coming.
Yep, knew that was coming. Right. Okay. All right. Yep. And you don't even have to say why. I mean, that's fine. And then one other question I'll ask.
Yep.
Yours, if there was, let's just say, your spirit animal, what would your spirit animal be, Coach McTackett, that describes you to a nutshell?
A McBurger.
Animal, not dead animal, an alive animal.
Let me go back on the first question prior to that too. Okay. George Patton, World War II.
Ooh,
I think
yes.
he'd be a good guy to sit down and talk to. He'll tell you how it is. That's for sure.
That's a fact. Yeah.
So, but Lincoln and Patton, I mean, those guys, I think were very intelligent guys and probably thinking way a step ahead of the game than a lot of guys that are around them. Spirit animal.
What describes you, Brian?
Would it be a weasel?
Weasel? No, definitely not a weasel.
Wouldn't be a mole.
No moles or no weasels.
Right.
I got no guys that are like that. I think I don't really know. I think the kids would tell you that I'd probably be like a hippo, maybe. Like you kind of I'm kind of calm, the flow. But halftime at Paris, I mean, they would probably tell you I was awoke and kind of irate. Hippo can kind of be in the water, and you kind of next thing you know, I hear they like bleed or they sweat like red, like when they get mad. So
interesting.
Hippo would get pretty mad. I think that'd probably be me because I'm pretty calm, but then when I've had enough,
it gets ugly. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
There was a locker in the Paris locker room that my hand hurt a little bit after that game at halftime. Second half, my hand was burning.
You pulled a Sam Erwin. Outstanding. Good for you. Good for you. Right.
Well, I have another hard-hitting question, Coach Tackitt. One more from you.
Yep.
How's it feel to have the Cowboys not lose this week?
All right.
Feels pretty good. How's it feel to have the trust of your franchise in Mitchell Trubisky?
Not very good, sir. Not very good, sir.
Bad, really bad.
Not bad, especially when you consider you passed on Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson.
Oh,
Not very good, sir.
Yeah.
It was a relaxing Sunday because I didn't have to stress over the Cowboys, and I didn't get to watch a lot of football. We had the parades that day. It was rescheduled, but I did see the Bears kicker hit the upright, and I just died laughing.
Jinxed. Yeah, and one final question. This one just obviously you've done a great job turning the team around, but you're also a phenomenal teacher that many people may not know because they just think coach, but you're a teacher first. What is now? This may be tough, but if you can come up with one, what would you say your best day as a teacher has ever been? You've been doing it for a long time. Can you think of one day or one instance with a kid or a lesson you taught or something that's just like, man, today was a great day to be a teacher?
Well, oh man, almost like every day, really. You've got your kids that maybe you kind of connect with, or you get that all moment type of thing. But I guess really the beginning of the year, we do like a Freedom Day, and we grow freedom trees in my classroom, and we listened to or we watched the Braveheart scene where
Oh,
comes,
yes. Mm-hmm.
they're all getting ready to run away, you know, and he's, you know,
The speech.
believe it's him. Yeah, the speech, right? So
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Exactly. I look forward to that day. I think you know, I don't know, you know, it's one of my favorite, most fun days of the school, and it's about day 3 or 4 of the school year, and kids have a lot of fun with it. We kind of get into what freedom means to them, and we grow trees, and then they put their freedoms on the tree. You know, it just so many things that we you take for granted here in this great country, and you know, I don't know. I could really pick out a single day through my career, but that'd be my favorite day of the year that I look forward to, just knowing what we're going to do and that sort of thing.
Well, I think your favorite day was the first day you came on the show, but I mean that's just my own personal opinion. But
teaching, so yeah,
oh.
you know, outside.
No, you teach a lot. No, anyway, Coach, we are pumped for you for Saturday. We are excited. I think it's going to be a great football game. I really do. I think it's going to be hard-nosed. I think we're going to have to see your defense play their good offense, but I think you're going to see some great football Saturday, and we can't wait to be there and call play-by-play for you. And we're just so proud of you and where you've brought this team from where they were a year ago and the effort and the work of everybody. So no matter what happens Saturday, we're very proud of you, and we're thankful that you've been on this show all season long with us, and not only as our friend, but as a coach as well.
Yep,
yeah,
absolutely.
Well, you know, thanks for having me on, and hopefully the season goes on, and we'll be talking about week 11. And you know, it's kind of neat to go up there and play in a place that we've never played before, and people see the Flora Wolves that have probably never seen the Flora Wolves play before. So we hope that we go up there and give a great effort, and we need to be physical, and I think we will be, and it'll be a lot of fun for you guys to cover for us once
Yep.
again.
We're thankful that that was a draw, so we can do that, Coach.
Yeah.
Very thankful.
And coach, if you need a kind of a more of a, not more of a, but if you need a really fired up pregame speech, let me know. I'll be glad to come in there because your hand probably hurts from that locker still. So mine are available. So just let me know if you need any help. So
hey,
but
I tell you what.
Uh-huh.
I tell you what, yeah, we'll talk about that off the air or get with me. I would love to have someone come in, and kids need a different voice than me. So if you're serious.
I'm 100% Keith Gibson. Can you believe it? I'm 100%. Oh, boy. I haven't given a pregame speech in a while. That would be awesome. But here's my fear. The kids don't know me that well, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Like you said, it's nice to maybe get a different voice. But hey, I'm game. If it helps the kids, then why not? Ooh,
yeah.
Ooh.
They've, you know, the kids ask about you too, and you know how, you know, I know you and that sort of thing, and you know, I tell them one was a great athlete, great legend at Flora High School. And,
thank you.
And the other one was just there. So. Yeah, I mean, I don't tell them who's who. But, you know.
Right. Yeah.
We'll let them decide that. I think it's pretty obvious. But Coach Tackitt, good luck Saturday. We will see you then.
Prediction time.
Oh yeah, we don't have Link's asleep, so we got to get Ledger.
Which is fine. Yeah.
Ledger's impatient. Let me go up here and get him real quick.
Okay. And how old is Ledger now?
Ledger's 4.
Oh boy. All right. Okay.
Let me get him here. He may have crawled in bed too.
Oh, he might have. Well, that's okay.
Come here, buddy. Oh yeah, he'll make his prediction. He'll come over here.
Awesome. And I love the name.
Ledger?
Yeah.
Come here, Ledge. Come here. All right, now who's gonna win?
Hi, buddy.
You say hi.
Yep.
Hi.
Hi,
Who's
buddy.
gonna win Saturday, the Flora Wolves or Tuscola Warriors? Who?
Flora.
That's right.
All right.
What's the score going to be, buddy?
You got a score? You got some numbers? What's the score going to be?
I don't know.
You don't know? What about? Say it.
20. What? 0.
I love
a
it.
shutout. I
I
love
love
it.
the defense to throw a shutout, Coach Tackitt.
Yep.
Thanks, Ledge.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Yep.
Hey, we love having your kids involved too, because it's it's all part of this. We love that as well, and so
Yeah, thank you for letting them on there. Link loves it, and He's just tired, I guess, this week, so he's
all
out.
right.
But yeah,
That's all right. Well, hey, safe travel Saturday. We'll see you there. Coach Brian Tackitt, the Flora Wolves, they play at Tuscola Saturday, and the Behind the Mic Show will be there live. We'll take a quick break and close the show when we come back here at the Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.
It's the 5th anniversary celebration at Ford of Tuscola. Celebrate with blowout pricing on all pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. All new inventory priced below invoice, including F-150 and Explorers. Don't miss out on Ford of Tuscola's 5th anniversary celebration happening all November. Visit FordofTuscola.com or call 217-253-3353 to celebrate with a new vehicle from Ford of Tuscola.
Welcome back to Behind the Mic Show, Cheap Seat Sports Bar and Grill. Keith Gibson, Sam Erwin, as we wrap up this week's episode. And we know it's been a little lengthy this week. We've had a lot to talk about.
That's what she said.
But
Ooh.
we got a lot of things coming up too. Make sure you join us. We'll send out the Facebook invite tomorrow.
Because we will be Facebook Live.
Facebook Live
this
to do
Saturday.
play-by-play. You don't have to go somewhere, another link anywhere else. Just go to cheapseatsbar.com Facebook page. Click on there. We'll have video and play-by-play. Sammy and I will bring you the Flora Wolves Tuscola Warriors game. We are excited to do that. The Illini got Rutgers this week. We want to thank, of course, Drew Ferris for coming on the show, Sammy, and Coach Martin and Coach Tackitt and Coach Groves, who apparently thinks he's a rose between two thorns.
You can tell he loves
we
us.
appreciate
but
our
yet
coaches.
another mega show for our listeners. We did it again. I mean, just keeps giving. And I can't wait for this Saturday. I am fired up.
Me too. Me too. So we hope you will join us on a Facebook Live Saturday of the Flora Wolves Tuscola Warriors game. We appreciate you listening in to us each and every week. And, of course, we're always up for feedback. And make sure you check out the website, cheapseatsbar.com. We're updating. I'm updating it more. I'm trying to be more.
You are. It looks fantastic. You're doing a great job. You really are.
And, of course, if you're a business out there and want to talk sponsorship, let us know. You've got an opportunity there. You can visit the website for that as well. So, Sammy, we will see you Saturday in a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
And, we'll dress warmly, my friend. I'm better padding than you.
Yeah, it's going to be a brisk, but it's going to be fun. So.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. So you've listened to the Behind the Mic Show from the Cheap Seats Sports Bar and Grill.
You should feel secure with your insurance protection. Your local country financial agent, Lisa Erbacher in Flora, is committed to helping you understand your coverage and what gaps you may have. To get a free quote and ensure that you have everything that you need, call Lisa today at 618-662-3344. Feel secure with your insurance protection with country financial agent, Lisa Erbacher.